Now, the Global FinTech Fest I was telling you about just before the break, it has indeed kicked off this morning at the Geo World Convention Centre in Mumbai. It's organised by the Payments Council of India, that's PCI, and the National Payments Corporation of India, the NPCI, as well as the FinTech Convergence Council. This event is hosting more than 800 speakers. There are policymakers there, regulators, FinTech founders, all of them in attendance. It's a three-day event. It's also going to have the Prime Minister address the gathering. The Prime Minister is going to be a speaker on the last day of this Global FinTech Fest. But at the end of the first day, we have a slew of voices from the FinTech industry. RBI Governor Shaktikanta was one of them. And there were top bosses over at SBI and Yes Bank who were also joining in, other FinTech players. So there are a host of conversations that took place on the first day. We came away with a lot of knowledge, a lot of takeaways, so there they are.
जनधन में 53 करोड़ मतलब 53 करोड़ पार्टिसिपेंट्स उसमें हमें 53 करोड़ अकाउंट होल्डर्स है और जिसमें कि ज़्यादातर 55% विमेन है और 66% जो है रूरल और सेमी अर्बन एरियाज में है मॉनिटरिंग ऑल एस्पेक्ट्स ऑफ द क्रेडिट मार्केट and whenever there is any concern in any segment, the Reserve Bank will be proactive and take it. The banks are fully mindful of the issue, and I think the banks are taking necessary action. So we should allow them some time to see the results. We are looking at multiple, but then there has to be a limit. You know, you cannot have endless number of SROs. I think maybe 2 or 3 SROs should be sufficient at this point of time.
The technology part of interlinking is actually the easiest part. The hard part is the legal, the governance, rulemaking, and that requires people to sit down in a room and agree on the way things are going to get done. So that's not a technology problem. The technology part is actually fairly easy to do. So anyway, that's where things would have to then move, is how do we agree to do the governance processing. Clearing and settlement of international payments is not a trivial problem, and how that would be done and what exchange rates you would do that at. So that's stuff that would have to be settled on. You know, we had a banking crisis in March of 23. Yeah. The Federal Reserve stepped in, set up our lending facilities to make sure that the liquidity and everything, and that has calmed down, and we were able to close that facility in March of this year. Yeah. So that's our confidence that everything in the banking system is fine.
Well, I think all this conversation, I think the first important thing is that all this conversation is happening around the stake sale of the banks who have invested in us. So I think that those banks who have invested in us, they would be in a better position to answer those questions.
So it's not really on us. It's quite clearly a question where regulator has to approve a particular entity to come in. And once the regulator approves it, and it will be known, of course, and then the negotiation will start with that player as to what price we exit. We are on record to say we will not stay. Our ultimate goal is to exit. But how will that happen and to whom will exit is not something we also know the answer at the moment.
We are seeing significant uptake in terms of people applying for a digital second account. And I am very proud to say that we are India's first choice for a safe second account. We are taking 2 big bets. One big bet, as you know, we are the largest bank in processing transit payments. We are broadly 48% of share in terms of processing metro payments across the country. Delhi Metro, Mumbai Metro, Ahmedabad, Gujarat, so on and so forth. And our big theme is that we believe that form factors for payments, especially in mobility, is going to change. So what we are launching today in collaboration with Noise, which is the largest smartwatch brand in India, is the ability for a consumer to enter a metro with just a smartwatch where he can just tap on the terminal and pay. It's really a broader theme of the fact that we believe mobility will be the next theme. And the second big thing is that in digital banking, our consumers are saying that they love our simplicity. They love the fact that they can do banking transactions and simple payments in one simple screen. And we are very proud to be India first in launching 2 new features. The first one is what we call a fraud alarm. If people are worried about frauds, they can now report, block, and ask us to investigate in just one swipe of a button on the app. And the second is that a lot of consumers have come and complained saying they find banks opaque, they find banks very complex, and we are very happy to have launched a section called Transparent Banking within our app.
As of March 24 audited numbers which are out in the public, we have turned profitable. We have a EBITDA of 37 crores and a PAT of about 15 crores as well, on a revenue of 890 crores. So once we were reaching that destination, we could already see that in December, that by March we'll be a fully profitable company. So we started working towards an IPO application. We filed it in January. And interestingly enough, our sector is very heavy on regulations. So because of some events that unfolded, there was very heavy regulatory scrutiny on our application. I'm happy to tell you that we cleared that, and then they were looking at all the different key topics. And I think that they've covered most of the topics, and they are now looking at one last technical matter. So, when SEBI gives the approval is not really in my hand. But I think we are in the last stages, and we are looking forward because, we are doing well on the growth side. We grew our business about 60% from 23 to 24 fiscals. We've turned profitable at the PAT level, without any adjustments, so to speak. So, and currently also this year the company is doing well. We are innovating, we are adding new products. We are also growing between April, May, June. I'm happy to tell you that we've also become the largest wallet now as per statistical data on RBI website. And so our market share has increased from about 12% to 23%. So many good things are happening.
We started a company in 2015, and a lot of, I would say monumental changes happened after that, right? We saw UPI being launched. We saw demonetization happening. Also, there is a change in consumer demand, right? I mean, these days consumers prefer buying things online because it's convenient to them. When we started, we had few e-commerce companies, few ticketing companies, but now literally all these services are on internet, right? And that is where we saw the growth for companies like us. We process more than $60 billion worth of transactions per year, which is again a pretty large size, right? I mean, this is the volume that a lot of countries process, in a year, right? So that's where I think India has created a big market for entire internet economy, and we are playing a bigger role here. We are enabling all the businesses, whether they are scaled up or you are just starting up, right? Helping them collect money scalably from their customers.
Right. Talking about your focus areas, where you see the growth will come from?
I think in terms of online space, we're seeing a lot of growth in retail, right? E-commerce is booming, right? E-commerce is supposed to be $1.5 trillion in size in the next 2 to 3 years. Travel is also scaling up pretty well, right? Then financial services is having two kinds of growth. One is a lot of, physical model financial services moving to internet. And at the same time, a lot of internet first financial apps are coming up, right? If you look at category like wealth, category like insurance, you'll see a lot of new companies or businesses coming up who are choosing internet as the primary method of distributing the product and services, right? At the same time, education is also being digital now, right? And government is also having, the government has removed any kinds of physical interaction. Everything is digital, even government departments. So all of this combined have been growing the entire internet economy or the growth of digital payments ecosystem in India. And that is where I think Ashley is playing a bigger role in. And as long as this market continues to grow, I think we'll see a great growth for someone like us.
How has been the funding for your company? Is it more of organic kind of a thing? And do you have any such fundraising plans per se in near future?
I think we have great investment capital. We have international investors like Y Combinator, AP's partners on the platform, as well as we have State Bank of India as an investor in that company. So I think we have raised, almost $70-80 million in that journey. I think we are pretty sustainable right now. Company has been profitable since 2018, right? So business has stayed sustainable. We're also seeing growth of upward of 80 to 100% year over year for last 5 to 6 years. Right? We recently secured 2 licenses from Reserve Bank of India. One in last December, which was payment aggregator license, and recently got cross-border license, from them. So things are in pretty good shape, right? Market is doing great. Now it's up to us how do we execute things well, right? We have been around for a good amount of time. We had great insights about the needs of the market, and we can also predict what kind of needs would be there after 2 years. Right? There might be 2 or 3 large-scale internet companies today in India, but after 5 years there could be 15 or 20 such companies. Now we are focusing on how do we prepare today to be able to handle their traffic, their scale when things become much larger.
Right. Talking about next 2 to 3 years, do we also see you sometime listing on exchanges?
This is something we have been thinking about it, but we don't have any defined timeline right now. still focused on growing a market share. Our aim is to work with at least 75% internet-first SMBs in the market and work with almost like 80-90% internet enterprises in the market. Once we achieve that goal, then maybe we are much ready to put a timeline. At the same time, we'll also see more growth in the market, right? And that is what we are hoping to see in the next few years.
Right. And talking about partnerships, you have already State Bank of India as an investor. Do you also have partnerships like this?
I think we work with all the major banks in India, like HDFC, Axis, RBI. Plus, we work with Visa, MasterCard. So these are the part of financial ecosystem, your Google Pay, Phone Pay. We are partnered with pretty much all of the financial institutions or say card schemes. NPCI is a big partner for us. We recently even built like direct connectivity with NPCI. So to help handle the scale which is being generated in the part. At the same time, we work with larger merchants like Swiggy, Zomato, right, Nykaa, and bunch of e-commerce and travel companies in the market today.
Tell me top 3 focus areas which we may see from the company next 2 to 3 years.
Payments will continue to be a focus area. I think there's a lot to be done there, right? We still have we have more than 400 million payers in India, and we expect this number to become 80 crores in next 3 years. So we want to make sure their journey is seamless. There's still a lot of new to online payment customers in the market, and that is where we are investing a lot into risk and fraud tools, so that new kind of customers feel much safer when they transact online. And our focus is also to grow the pie. We just don't want to fight with the existing payments pie, right? And for that, we have to create a lot of enabler platform, which makes it easy for new customers to come and try payment online. Right? That's where we have invested in card tokenization, data safety, risk shield, and now today we released a product called Secure ID. So all these products combined will help us onboard new payment users to the ecosystem. At the same time, grow the payments pie for us and other players in the market.
I came here last year and the event was 45,000 people, and this year I'm told it's 80,000 people, could go up to a lakh. So it's fantastic to see its growth, and it's a very vibrant place to be. In terms of our investments, quite a few of our portfolio companies are around. OneCard is obviously here, Jupiter is here, Refine is here, Upswing, you had the Flipkart card launch, card launch, which is powered by Upswing. So we are very excited to see. Look, last year and a half has been quite tough for the fintech ecosystem, and it's a bit of survivorship bias. So companies that have survived and done well over the last 2 years, sky is the limit for them. And so we are very excited about our portfolio companies who are doing well.
Also mention some of your plans or the strategic innovations you are tackling to move on forward. Your plans, your strategic portfolio, basically what are you looking to build? What is your long-term goals? Can you just elaborate on that?
Yeah, look, I think for companies, we are very clear that the first thing you have to demonstrate is unit economics. Like you should try to turn profitable, right? Profitable on an economic activity. What to us means unit economics is the customer should be willing to pay you more than it costs you to produce that service or product, right? So that margin has to be positive. That's the first thing. If you demonstrate that, then you can go and scale. And when you scale, you should be able to scale exponentially, right? So that way, I think the teams have executed really well. And so that's the growth trajectory. Yeah.
So, as you said that growth is in course, what are the sectors or the opportunities you think that will blow the minds of people or will grow on a very senior pace?
So look, I think specific to India, I think consumer will continue to be a very big theme. You hear a lot about GDP growth rate, 5th biggest economy. All of that is great stuff, right? Don't get me wrong, all of that is really great stuff. But where the real value lies is the 200, 300 million Indians whose disposable income is now growing really fast, right? Because when you have met all your sort of basic needs and then your disposable income grows, that's when you want to spend more, you want to borrow more, you want to bank more, you want to insure more, you need wealth management services, so on and so forth. So that's when fintech really grows. And we have hit that threshold. So consumer will continue to be a very big theme across all the subcategories within fintech. Neo-banking, consumer lending, insurance, all of that stuff. I think the second big thing going for India is definitely this sort of export orientation, right? Be it manufacturing, be it services, the fact that we want to export more and we are succeeding in those efforts. There'll be a lot of people talk about cross-border payments, which is obviously going to grow up. But what will also come alongside with is cross-border financing, cross-border insurance. Those are the verticals that would really have a lot of good margin, and that's one of the sectors we are looking at very closely. In fact, a few weeks ago, we announced an investment in a company called ECL, Efficient Capital Labs, and they actually fund SaaS companies built out of India that are selling into US. right? So ideas like that. So I think cross-border is a big theme. I think climate will be a big theme across the world here as well. And then I think there will be other aspects of like SME lending, etc., specific niches in that, which could have very interesting opportunities.
Yeah, absolutely. MSMEs, and especially you spoke about the CBDC, which is the main core of RBI Governor as well. And every minister also says that the CBDC will grow as well. Also, ULI, RBI just introduced, which is a big thing, and he says that it can just elaborate the system of lending system in India. So, to what are the companies you are looking or planning to invest in, especially if we talk about the CBDC? Are you looking forward to invest in any companies which have the main focus on the CBDC?
So CBDC, we have to see in particular, that particular initiative, we are waiting to learn more about it, because see, the heart of the matter is that 70%, 80% of transactions in India are still cash. And so CBDC is really trying to bring that into a formalized, digitized economy, right? So it's like UPI 2.0, UPI on steroids, etc. You can call it what. So you have to see how it gets executed, because that will be the crux of how it will get built out. In some ways, it's a different channel, right? So you have a credit card, you can swipe it, you can tap it, you can use UPI on it, you can use CBDC on it, right? So in some ways, it's just a channel. But because it will be so prevalent, if it really scales, it will be prevalent. Every village should have CBDC, right? So if it becomes that prevalent, then it will open up terrific new opportunities.
Of course. So obviously the hopes are high. My last question to you will be, of course the areas are growing, the fintechs are growing, the consumer is basically growing, and plus there are also regulatory things which the regulator focus on. So are any regulatory challenges impacting you in any way?
So look, I have worked in a bank before. So I was in bank for banking and consumer technology for 2 decades before we became investors, and that's most of QED actually. Most of us come from deep banking experience before we became investors. So regulation, we don't see it as a challenge. It's par for the course, right? Something that you have to adapt to, and it's actually a blessing, because see, in consumer companies, you spend millions of dollars, if not billions of dollars, winning customers. Here, if you get a license, that's sort of a blessing from the regulator, saying that this company is trustworthy, right? It gives you customer trust on day one. Similarly, it provides a structure within which you have to innovate. And that way, it's more powerful in driving innovation, because you can shut out the things that the regulator doesn't want you to do, for good or bad, but you can shut them out. So I think having more regulatory scrutiny in the short term feels very painful, but actually will create a far healthier ecosystem in the long term.
So, as you know, GFF is one of the biggest event now for the fintechs, and not just fintech. Why fintech? It is for the complete FS community. So what I expect is, apart from all the technology discussions that goes on, I am looking for a lot of governance, compliance, AI discussions that's going to happen. And it is also that I anticipate that a lot of disruptive technologies will get discussed. Like how, if you see, we are talking about the era of zero. Now, nobody thinks of zero, but I think zero fraud, zero friction, zero challenges by the customers. That's what everybody expects. So I anticipate a lot of discussions around that.
Okay, that was well said, sir. Also talking about, you said expansions is your main. So what about the international expansions, your strategies, your future plan?
So yes, as you know, we are already present in 18 geographies. We are looking to expand to US and Europe. But as you know, the overall, when you take an expansion call, it's about the right product fit, the right timing of the market. That means what is the economic situations and the geopolitical situation in that country. So macro matters. But I think that is settling down. The latest Fed interest rate cut makes it stronger point that we should look at those markets favorably. So hopefully we will work on that from an expansion perspective. In terms of the product line, the expansion that we look at is building strong products for governance to help banks do an automated reporting of all the regulatory requirements, and also strengthen our fraud product suite, which is where a lot of research investments are happening around. We're also investing a lot on the HR tech to ensure that it is helping job creation in the MSME sector, which is also an agenda for the government and the Viksit Bharat. So I think the MSME job creation is one big agenda for us as a company as well.
So can you just shed a light on technology, AI, artificial intelligence? It's a booming industry right now, and everyone is using it and making both the people, the consumers, and the companies work easier. What is your what stand on that?
I think a lot of people are doing a premature optimization. That means the technology is great, but it needs to handle scale and should be able to address all use cases, because we are talking of financial services sector, which is highly regulated. You can't go wrong by saying, oh, this is not a marketing content which you are asking an AI to throw out. You are taking financial calls, you are doing an underwriting basis the AI output. So you can't go wrong. I think it needs to be trained a lot. You need to know what to prompt to get the right answer. So AI will see a definitive change and it will evolve. But what we have to be careful is everybody is jumping on it. So please be mindful, there will be regulations around it as well.
Of course. My last question to you will be, can you name one of your short-term goal and a long-term goal in Indian market especially?
Okay. I would say short-term goal is always to engage with people and create more innovative products. That has always been the case. Build a company as we scale. How we continue to execute seamlessly as we have been doing for so many years. Right? That's the short-term goal. Long-term goal is how do we help take Indian product company and create a name in the international market. So we want to carry the national flag internationally and say that India is truly a technology product hub, and it is not just for servicing or outsourcing of technology. No, we can create best of the breed products.
If you like this video, then like, share and subscribe to ET Now.